Morning world, it's the 6th of February 2019. It's about 7:45 in the morning UK time. I'm breaking my silence because there's something going on that I really want to bring to the world, to your attention, particularly from an astrological perspective. This is the ongoing square from Jupiter to Neptune. It started a couple of weeks ago and it's going to continue for the next 7 to 8 months, running through to the end of August, start of September. This is particularly affecting those people born around the 7th, 8th, 9th of March, 7th, 8th, 9th of June, 9th, 10th, 11th of September, and 8th, 9th, 10th and 11th of December. If you're one of these people, then Neptune is either conjuncting, squaring or opposing your Sun over the coming year, and there's going to be issues around dissolving, releasing, fatigue, weariness, confusion, as well as a heightened intuition, imagination, strong dreams, and the capacity for self-deception, seeing the world as being the way you want it to be rather than dealing with it the way it really is. So if you're one of these people, be cautious over the coming year. But this is being exacerbated, particularly in the last few weeks and now, and then again later this year, by the square from Jupiter in Sagittarius to Neptune. Jupiter deals with philosophy, belief, higher moral values, ethics. It loves being in Sagittarius. It's its own sign. So issues around truth and transparency come up. Neptune is the planet of spirituality and intuition and imagination and art, as well as escapism, addiction, neuroses. And it loves being in Pisces. So Jupiter's great in its own sign at the moment. Neptune's great in its own sign at the moment, but they're square to each other. And a square will bring out the worst of both. Jupiter square Neptune. The challenge of Jupiter in Sagittarius, belief systems, faith, philosophy, versus Neptune in Pisces, suffering, compassion, intuition, imagination. Yesterday evening, the story broke here in the UK. I don't know if it's common elsewhere in the world, around the latest set of abuses being perpetuated by male Catholic priests. Having had a decade of stories of, using a pejorative term, but kiddie fiddling by Catholic priests and getting involved in sexual abuse of underage minors, it now gets worse. In a press conference yesterday in the UAE, the Pope admitted that Catholic priests in unnamed areas of the world have been using convents and nunneries as their own personal brothel and whorehouse, that there's been systematic abuse and rape of nuns, and that nuns have been forced into having abortions against the Catholic creed to dispose of the unwanted pregnancies forced upon them by Catholic priests and monks. Just when you think it can't get any worse, it does. Now, it may seem as if I'm having a dig at the Catholic Church. You're right, I am. Because whilst this does happen in every religion, it doesn't happen with this degree of frequency or notoriety. And the difference between the Catholic Church and other forms of Christianity, I'm not talking about Hinduism, Sikhism, Buddhism, Islam, or any other form of religion. I'm focusing mainly on the Christian Church. The reason that this type of abusive phenomena happens in the Catholic Church is because Catholic priests are not allowed to marry, and women are seen as subservient to men. The misogynist, violent abuse of women by Catholic priests has no place at any time in our history, let alone today. If this were happening outside the church, these men would be prosecuted, and go to prison for a long period of time, at least in most countries of the world, but they are being hidden by the church because the church doesn't want to own up to the shame of its own abuse. To my mind, people who still condone this behaviour are living in an escapist and an avoidist world, and it is a classic example of Jupiter in the sky squaring Neptune, amplifying and exacerbating the suffering of people who are devout. Seems to me that we need a radical rethink of all of our attitudes around belief, philosophy, religion, and our own relationship with the divine. As I've often said, with Neptune in Pisces, the age of religion, from religare, the Latin to bind down, to tie down, which is the same root of the word ligament, which ties muscle to bone. The age of religion is coming to a permanent and hopefully final close. And the idea of believing in invisible deities whom we only have the word of old men in skirts that they exist is coming to a permanent end. However, the death pains of organised religion are painful, and as church attendances fail across the board, so the rise of fundamentalism increases. This is a direct reaction to the downfall of religion, and it's going to take time, generations, before we see the end of both religion and fundamentalism. However, this is not to decry the relationship of individuals with spirit. Everyone has their own relationship with the divine, and this is as it should be. To have a life without some type of spirituality and some type of relationship with divinity, however one chooses to see the divine as being, would be a sterile and meaningless life. Everyone calls it something. Some people call it the universe. Other people call it spirit or God. I call it the upstairs department. Call it what you like. But the idea of getting down on our knees and praying to a faceless God, whilst at the same time condoning the abuse of women, especially pious, devout women, in the way that the Catholic Church is doing, is criminal, wrong, amoral, and an abuse against humanity. This needs to stop, and these people need to be brought to a court of law to atone and to explain why they are doing this in public. Jupiter squaring Neptune. This is not going to go away. Jupiter will continue to square Neptune now until mid-September. So I expect more and more circumstances of clerical abuse against the unfortunate, the disempowered, the weak to come out over the next 6 to 8 months. And this is hastening the death knell of contemporary, or rather actually traditional religion. Contemporary belief is something that's thriving, and I truly believe we're entering into a spiritual renaissance despite the downturn of despite the upturn of the material world. So with Jupiter square Neptune, if you're one of these people whom this is particularly hitting, then find your own truth. Work your own relationship out with the divine. Speak to God in your own form. But there's no need to get down and pray and put God on a pedestal, because this is just so 17th, 18th, 19th and 20th century. Don't need to do it anymore, folks. If scripture is to be believed, then God made us all in his or her own image. We are equal. The relationship I have with the upstairs department, they say to me, look, you're just exactly the same as us. We're the same as you, it's just that we live in a different dimension. And I'll be interested to find out one day when it's time for me to leave. Hopefully not yet. Meantime, with Jupiter square Neptune, check your own belief systems, folks, and let's make a collective stand against this violence, against defenceless individuals by people who pretend to be pious and working in God's name. This is wrong. Okay, rant over. Moon's in early Pisces, going to be conjuncting Neptune over the next 24 hours, so I expect this story to get stronger and stronger. I'll do some more videos soon. Alright, bye now.